What's the wave pattern look like for the first harmonic? This is an open closed tube. What's at the open end? Antinode at the open end. Closed end, we have a node. The first harmonic looks like that. How much of a wave does that represent? It represents a quarter of a wave. So 1/4 of a wavelength equals the length of the tube. In this case, 0.25 meters. Calculate the wavelength produced. That's what we just talked about. 1/4 of a wavelength is the length of the tube. So 1/4 of the wavelength is 0.25 meters. So the wavelength is 1 meter. The frequency of the tuning fork that produces that wave. We're given velocity in the problem of 343, which is typical room temperature. V equals F lambda. 343 meters per second equals frequency times wavelength, 1 meter. Frequency is 343 hertz. These questions are not going to be that complicated if you can draw the wave pattern. The problem that you're going to have is if you can't draw that wave pattern, you're going to miss everything. You've got to understand open ends are antinodes, closed ends are nodes. And you can believe on the test they're going to have 2 or 3 of these things. So you're going to have to draw first, second, third harmonics up to those for each type. Fixed on a string, open ends, and then open end and closed end. So make sure you do review those. Given the same tuning fork, calculate the length of the tube which the next resonance pattern will emerge. Well, in order to figure out the length of the tube, we need to know, A, what's the next pattern? So this is the first harmonic. What's the second harmonic going to look like? Or what's the next? Yeah, 3/4 of a wavelength equals L. The best way I feel to do that is to draw it. You're going to add a node in the middle here, so it's going to look like this. That's 3/4 of a wave. So basically, you're looking at the same pattern, only you're adding an extra node here. So instead of this pattern here, you've added an extra node to continue the wave. 3/4 of a wavelength. So that pattern is 3/4 of a wavelength equals the length of the tube. We know the wavelength of this thing is 1 meter. That's not going to change based on new harmonics. So 3/4, 1 meter equals L. So L is 0.75